to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kira's show here. Now, let us begin. When we last left off, Deku and Momo got pretty heavily injured during the forest training arc. Along with that, Mei actually did tag a Nomu. If not, she was able to get close enough to stab one in the neck, if not, in at least its body, to inject nanites into it, which she can track. Now then, let's continue. Deku, he's waking up in the hospital, as he's actually able to get up, if not try and stand. As soon as he would do so, he would find that he can barely even move. As soon as he gets up, he actually does get instructed by a nurse to stay in bed, which Deku doesn't do. He would just immediately he knows he's in a hospital gown, but he would at least take off the shirt he's wearing. Considering the fact that they gave him those hospital pants and the hospital shirt. Kind of like what a nurse would wear, but I want to say they gave him these because they just had to wrap his injuries after helping rearrange some ribs. So he would have taken that off and immediately slipped his comfortable shirt on, if not changed into his suit after the nurse would have left the room. Which is whenever he would just walk through and find Momo's room, after seeing that All Might and everyone is there. Deku just saw that Momo is awake, and she actually does have a broken arm, which Deku would come up to see, as this is actually a pretty bad injury. They said that Recovery Girl did try and heal it, but she actually did have to perform surgery. In fact, they took 2 doctors just to help make her heal properly, along with the fact that she'll have this giant scar, which Deku would see. He actually does find that scar to be very weird, because that's a lot of damage on the arm. It's like, that scar is bigger than the one he has in his left shoulder. Even then, he did, make it a bigger scar just by having to stab Black Whip through it during the sports festival. So that is saying something. Now, Deku, he actually would just say that he's sorry, as Momo would be a bit confused. She would actually see Deku in a moment of weakness, where he's a bit, he didn't expect Muscular to be that strong. Even then, he wasn't able to adapt quick enough. So he feels like he failed her because she got hurt this bad. So he's just sitting down as he's just looking down, feeling like he failed and he doesn't even deserve to be a warrior. Which is whenever Momo, she would just use her other hand to try and cheer Deku up. But whenever she does go to move it, she actually would feel it hurt. Which is whenever Deku would just look straight back up at her. She would just tell him that if she would have failed him, or if he would have failed her, then she wouldn't be sitting here. In fact, it's not really at all your fault. Being warriors, we're supposed to fight. Even if we die, that's just a great honor. But I get what you mean. Not dying besides the one you love, that can be your greatest tragedy. Not being there, not being able to see them. Not being, beside them. To embrace them in the end. That's the biggest tragedy you can ever know. As she would just lean forward, kissing Deku. All Might just slowly backing out of the room after that happened. As he would actually be, he would basically just talk with Mei, as eventually, after a couple minutes of talking, he would walk back into the room to see that Deku and Momo are actually talking, if not on a happier note. Which is whenever Mei would hand All Might a vial, saying that these are more nanites. It has been a week and, from what she's heard, your progress is going very well. But how has your time limit been? Well, I'm able to push myself up to 8 hours again. Are you sure? Well, yes, it's just. I do notice I buffed down and I'm a little bit more tired. Well, you're doing excess work. Yeah, you're doing more work, All Might. Well, yes, but even then, I say you at least only stay at 7. Your body's not used to doing this anymore. It could be fatal for you to do that for that long, as you're already not even supposed to be able to do it for that long. These are just helping you. These are like performance enhancers for an athlete. The long-term effects could be very bad, but they don't have drawbacks. It's just that you need to work your way up to it. Otherwise, you can traumatize yourself more. Which All Might would understand. As he would actually bring up one point. He may not be able to go at 100% anymore, but he does notice he feels a little bit much stronger. As I want to say he's able to go up to 75%. Being the fact is that the nanites going through his bloodstream, they would increase if not be charged by one for all. Not like a quirk, just the fact that the electricity All Might's body is able to contain is also in his bloodstream, if not flowing throughout his entire body, speeding up his blood, if not helping him. So he's able to at least stockpile a little bit of power in those nanites, just for a little bit of a power boost, but they would fade over time. Now then, this is whenever All Might he would finally walk back into the room, saying that these two are actually happy, as everyone else in the waiting room would join them. Now, they would all be talking as they are looking at Deku, and Deku would just say that he broke at least one part of his ribcage this time, so he hasn't gotten the whole set yet. But even then, this shouldn't be that big of a problem. They need to go after, well, whoever was behind this. Yes, well, as All Might would close the door and just start saying, the man behind this is All For One. In fact, thanks to young May here, she has given us some very good intel. The nanites she put into the Nomu, she's able to track them. Albeit in a weird way. She uses your guys' ship, since it's considered to be Yaoja tech. She scans for all of it that is not either in your guys' locations, or you have never been. She's found bits and pieces, albeit a heavy injection was needed. Yeah, I basically used my wrist bracer to stab it into it. Gonna need to make a new one of those. May? You were making that little project, aren't you? What? No. Yes. Well, I suggest you get to work on it immediately. Actually, I've been working on it for the last few days. Days? Wait, how long have I been out exactly? Yeah. I woke up yesterday, and you were still a bit unconscious. So, I've been out for a day. Try 4. As Deku's in shock. Being out for an entire day is bad, but being out for 4 is insane. Basically having the explanation that he was nearly in critical condition, if not close to it, so they put him in a medically induced coma to stop his quirk from interfering with surgery. But him waking up so soon was not expected. In fact, they actually thought he would miss the provisional license exam. Which is a big thing, since that is a couple weeks away. Now, Deku, he's ready. As he just turned to May, telling her to go back to the ship and finish that. They might need it. Which is whenever she would just comply. Immediately heading off with, well, I would say Momo, but Momo's still injured. She'd be heading off, though. I want to say the only other tech head I could see. She's not even in the series, never mind. Now, with that being said, Deku, he would immediately try getting back to training, as he actually does try going more intensely. Noticing that he's a little slow, but he is working his way up to it. All Might would have explained to him that they need to go on the raid, if not try and take down All For One, in one fell swoop. So his help will be greatly needed. He is the one who caused my injury, and I believe that, well, you're adaptable, correct? Exactly how much? Well, I didn't want to say it, but I was able to adapt to a foreign planet after my mask was damaged. Well, not my mask. Mina Ashido, whenever we first found her, a couple years ago, her mask got damaged and she began to suffocate on Planet 4. What's Planet 4? It's basically a planet so similar to ours, but it's probably around 70 degrees, if not 60. It's very weird. But it's got a completely different atmosphere that's unbreathable to us. I was able to adapt to it and transform a bit into an engineer. A what? Long story. Now, I was able to at least adapt to that, so I should be able to adapt to anything I'm thrown at. But we need to bring everyone else along. No, I can't do that. The students shouldn't even be doing this. Let alone me bringing you and Momo along will be too much. Well, that's why I'm just saying a few of us. Kirishima, Bakugo, and, well, I want to say Shinsho. But everyone else, if anything goes wrong, they can at least be backup. Now, with that being said, All Might, he does not want to go through with this, but, well, begrudgingly he would say yes. Now, with that being said, Deku, he also informs Mei, if not he does get his tech back, and inform her on his gauntlet that she also does need to at least bring out that specialty she's created, as the weapon might actually be useful. Sure, it's not traditional, but the Bad Blood gave it to them, at least as a trophy, or at least his clan did. So let's see if it actually does work. Now, that being said, oh crap. That being said, let us cut to a couple days later. Deku, he's gotten the information. If not, everyone is going off. They are beginning to raid the villain's base, as Deku and them are all in the uniform. People would see exactly how similar everyone's gear is, along with the fact that those masks they wear all have the same symbol. So they're a bit hesitant to approach them, until they realize that these are students from UA, in which case they're a bit more questioning to why they're even here, until they get the explanation that All Might is allowing them here, as one of them is very strong. The other one, his quirk, is perfect for this. If not, he's proven to be hard to take down. Now, because of that, Deku, and the noise is back. Deku, he would immediately just say that this is going to be different. As All Might, he does inject nanites into his arm more, and he would actually just throw away the needle. If not, throw away the vial, as he actually does feel them in his system. Now, he does tell Deku that this is going to be a bit different, as going against All For One will be hard and challenging, but the villains, they're a bit more different. They don't have hostages, so we should just be able to bust right in. Which Deku would understand, as he would just make his way up to the roof, if not slowly climbing up the building. He would finally get to the roof, as he would just be waiting outside of a window. All Might, he would just give a signal that he is busting through the door. Deku would hear it, and he would immediately smash the window as Momo does come up through the ground. She would immediately grab Kirigiri and just smash him on the table, and Bakugo would just come up behind her, immediately bringing his hands down on Kirigiri's neck. They would be holding him in his place as Deku he immediately comes in, tackling Shigaraki to the ground and bringing his hands together. If not doing that, and then immediately using his whip to tie them together. Basically making it to where he can't, move his hands very well. If not Deku, at least imagine putting your hands together like your Ida, then put your hands together, then wrap your hands around right where your thumb is. So basically, halfway across your hand. Your fingers will not be able to move. So that's how he would get Shigaraki. Dobby, he is a bitch. Yeah. He would have immediately been taken down by another hero if not restrained, as All Might, he thinks that was fairly easy. And in fact, it went quite well. Which never happens, as they would all be teleported away. Deku immediately realizing what happened, he would immediately look up at All Might, as All Might would just immediately start running over the window, bursting straight through the rest of the wall, as he does launch off. Everyone reflecting on the fact that he actually seems faster, as Momo and Deku would follow. Momo respectively asking Deku one simple question. He can't fly, can he? I can, but I need a favor. Throw me. Okay. So basically she would just pick up Deku and overhand toss him into the distance, as he goes hurtling through the air. He would create his wings eventually, carrying on the motion, just flapping faster. As I want to say he's at least going at about a couple 100 miles an hour. Let's say at least 100. Whew. And yeah, Momo, she would eventually catch up. If not very fast, as All Might would finally arrive, clashing with All For One in what's known as the All For One versus All Might battle. As All For One would reflect at only 4 seconds. Impressive, but you're weak. All Might breaking away from him and immediately getting ready to fight. As Momo would arrive, then Deku would, immediately just plummeting straight into the ground as he would have tried sucker punching, if not smashing in All For One, where he would have immediately held up his hand and blocked him with a shock absorption quirk that he took back, if not took from a Nomu. With that being said, Deku, he immediately just begins by trying to slash at him, if not cut upwards at his mask with his claws, because he just would aim for the face as instinct. He would do so as All For One have actually dodged it, if not move away, as Deku would have been a bit keen on this. So, he doesn't like it when you try and mess with the mask. That's good. I'll take that as a trophy. Now, meanwhile, Shinsho, he is flying over, albeit not as fast, along with Bakugo still being there with Kirigiri. Kirigiri did get teleported away, but Bakugo somewhat got, Kirigiri kicked him in the nuts. There's no way to get around that. There's literally no way to explain any other reason as to how he escaped. And if you can explain to me how he would escape single-handedly, I will accept your answer if I can see it plausibly. Aside from him just being stronger than Bakugo. Because, yeah, I hope you understand. Now, Deku, he would have been a lot more keen on this, as Bakugo and everyone, they're still at the other side of town. All Might and All For One immediately begin to clash, as All Might and him are fighting back and forth. Eventually, All For One providing his All Might killing weapon and showing it off, as he would just say that this is going to be the greatest battle yet. You are strong, but not as strong as before. So, let us begin. As Momo would have tried using Black Whip to at least try holding it back whenever All Might clashed with All For One, this is whenever a Nomu would have appeared and tried to take Momo down, if not try and slash at her face, As soon as it would come to bring its hands down, there is immediately just one thing that would happen. As something would come flying past Momo's face, and immediately just fly upwards, hitting the predator in the arm. As the Nomu would be looking at this, it would immediately look down at the hole as it would begin to explode. Now, meanwhile, 2 miles away, on the top of a building, sits Mei, with the modified gift the Bad Blood gave to Deku, with the crosshairs of a sniper rifle. Mei is just sitting on top of the building, if not just trying to at least take down Nomu, as she's been trying to shoot at, if not get a good eye on, everything going around. But she needs to install infrared on this if she's going to be doing this again. Mental note, infrared, and well, better crosshairs. Although, the system to guide the bullet from the wind is a lot better. Now, she would have immediately reloaded and taken another shot as she would have actually aimed for the brain, watching as the Nomu's head just explodes. All for One's a bit confused as he looks around in the distance. He doesn't see Professor Snipe, so who was that? As Momo would just begin pulling against All for One again, as Deku would have come in actually trying to stab into, if not get into his ribcage, just throwing punches. Now, All for One having a bit more quirks in this timeline, he would have actually pulled out one thing. He would have immediately pulled out a bone out of his arm as he would have tried stabbing it if not hitting it into Deku. Deku being able to block it with his wrist bracers, and All for One looking at these. Oh, you're using that primitive tech. That's annoying. Primitive? What are you talking about? Boy, I've been around since the first generation of quirk holders. I've seen Yaoja tech. I'm not impressed. Really. Now, as that's happening, All Might would immediately tell Deku to just begin evacuating civilians. Him and Yaoyorozu might be able to handle this. As All Might and All for One begin to collide. Momo would be trying to get into this, but seeing the exact damage and force behind each one of their blows, she would break off to do what Deku's doing. As All for One, having the shock absorption and a bit more quirks, he would somewhat overpower All Might, as All Might would have eventually been forced into his weak form, if not burning through a lot more of that power. But All for One is significantly more fatigued, if not, well, damaged. All Might would have tried buffing up, but he can barely even bring his arm up. As the nanites are trying to heal his hand, they would have done so at least healing a finger, as All for One would somewhat be keen on this, thinking All Might's using performance enhancers just to stay a hero. As All for One would immediately charge in, smashing All Might in the chest, stabbing him through the gut. As everyone's in shock just watching this. All Might would have been sent flying as he's significantly more injured. Now, Deku would have ran over as he immediately does one thing. He would have told the ship, if not looked back down on his wrist, immediately just saying that they need the tech. As the ship would just respond with one thing. Model number 01, nicknamed the Predator Killer Armor. Deploying. As the ship would immediately just blast it down to Earth. Deku is watching as it's coming down, and he actually does see it streak across the sky, as it smashes in to a crater in the middle of the battlefield. All for One a bit confused at what this exactly was. He would just watch as Deku immediately carries All Might's body as he's bleeding over to the suit. He would immediately just force open, if not break open the metal, as he immediately throws All Might in it. As All Might would be covered in nanites. People thinking that Deku's a bit crazy would just watch as All Might does get back up. If not, he actually does begin to breathe properly, taking in a lot more oxygen, a bit confused at what the hell just happened. The suit would just report that it's got vitals, if not life support, activated. All Might being a bit confused, asking Deku exactly what happened. Well, you're probably gonna hate me for this, but, well, you need to retire. This was supposed to be an emergency. If not, something we didn't want to use, unless we needed to. You are in the Predator Killer armor. The what? Okay, first, I can explain this to you later, but we need to take him down, as All Might would immediately turn his head, looking over at All for One. The suit would somewhat grow from this size, if not smaller, to this size, as it deploys plasma casters and wrist blades. All Might immediately looking down at these, he's somewhat intrigued, as he actually just charge in, finding that he may not be as fast, but this suit is amazing. It's basically giving him different routes, if not different ways, to try and damage All for One and take him down. Especially exposing 3 weaknesses, if not 10 different ways to, well, hit him, that could prove fatal, if not weaken him even further. Along with the fact that weaknesses to his form are shown, as All Might would have aimed for his kneecap and immediately go slashing at him, as All Might would just begin dismantling All for One, as everyone begins to cheer All Might on. They're a bit confused though as to what this exactly is, as eventually All Might, he is ripping apart All for One to the point where it's not a joke anymore. It's a bit too serious for this now. Their cheering would have slowly stopped as All Might, he just is punching down, if not trying to break through All for One's mask, eventually ripping it off his face, as he would have dropped it to the ground. He would immediately just bring his hands down to All for One, telling him that he's going to go away for a long time. Which All for One wouldn't, well, understand. He would immediately do one thing as he does turn, if not move his left hand, immediately just grabbing onto the bottom of the boot, and immediately trying to use a quirk on it. As this quirk is a techno-style one. It's interacting with the armor, and the armor is somewhat trying to malfunction, if not trying to short out. With the fact being that these are individual computers, that's a bit more challenging. All for One would be doing that as All Might would finally just step down on his hand, crushing the entire thing. As All Might does be declared the winner. Albeit, Deku having to somewhat explain what that is. Now, Deku, he would be known as one thing. They heard what Deku called this armor, if not exactly what they named it. The Predator Killer. So, that's not much of a hero name. But they would at least call him the Hunter. Now, with that being said, this is going to be where Deku and everyone there somewhat needing to hide this again. If not, they would bring it back to the ship. And All Might would be considered retired. Now then, let us begin. Mirio versus Class 1A. Everyone in Class 1A, they'd be watching as Mirio does walk through the door one day. He is immediately excited as he would just call Deku the Hunter, if not a tactician. He would just say that he saw the fight and he was actually very pumped, but that weird thing in the suit, well, that was a bit more intense. Although I did have to stop watching after a while. Too much blood for my taste. Anyways, so I do want to actually see where you guys stand. Can we fight? Mr. Aizawa, can we fight? Sure, whatever. Just don't interrupt my nap. Alright. Now, as that happens, Deku, him, and everyone in Class 1A would be immediately on the battlefield, as they're waiting for Mirio to make a move. They're all on their hero suits as Mirio notices similarities between a lot of theirs. Basically, they're being the mask. If not a bit altered and different, they all do look the same. with the fact that they do share the same marking, if not their same. Yeah, I just bit my tongue. The same shape. Now, he would have immediately begin by permeating through the ground, as he does try battling, if not fighting off everyone. Finding that this is very hard, considering the fact that you have a lot of members of Class 1A who are a lot stronger and a lot deadlier. I want to say Bakugo would have been able to at least take down Tamaki with Kirishama's help, along with Toga or Todoroki. Now, with that, I also do want to say that Deku, he would have been able to take on, if not, well, adapt to and eventually fight Mirio by, I want to say his skin would somewhat become acidic, if not slimy, to the point where if Mirio does make contact with him, he would somewhat burn his hands. Along with that, I do want to say that Kendo, she would have surprised Nejire by quite simply just enlarging one of her giant arms and immediately smashing it down on her. If not, just somewhat growing in size to be around 10 feet tall and charging up at her, if not jumping upwards. Somewhat doing something Mount Lady can't, being able to at least stick to a size big enough to get into smaller spaces, without being too overbearing, basically being the size of a skyscraper. With that, Shinsho would have actually helped Kendo and Asui take her down, while Momo and Deku are focusing, if not fighting, against Mirio. Mirio being intrigued as he's actually on defense. Even though he doesn't need defense, he is on it, as trying to get away from everyone is very hard. Eventually, Todoroki would join in their battle, and they would take them down. Now, that being said, he is excited to fight them again, but he would just ask for one-on-one matches next time, since he actually did get pretty well injured, if not pretty well banged up. Now, for the provisional license exam, Deku and everyone, they would be brought to one conclusion. Deku has looked around, if not poked around, online, and gotten the ship's computer to try and find things, if not about some people's quirks. The computer would not have found anything, along with the fact that there is no live broadcast, if not there is not any video footage of anyone at any of their schools, which he would have tried running a scan for, if not doing a lot of research on. Finding that is true, explaining to everyone that they don't know their quirks, coming up with the excuse that he looked online and did not find their sports festivals, if not no pictures and no videos, leading to where everyone would stick together and Todoroki would meet he would meet that guy who has the air quirk, as he's a bit more friendly. Being that Endeavor, he was somewhat in recovery, if not on a light duty, after that injury. He actually did sign this guy's notebook, if not give him some encouraging words, albeit still sounding like an asshole, which Todoroki would have still heard. This would go very different with the fact being all of Class 1A does stick together and fight. Them all passing and them all doing very well, if not being in some of the top 10. For the rescue portion, everyone would do great. All their teamwork is very good, if not a lot better than it should be, along with the fact that they all get, Toga would explain to a lot of other people from the different schools that her quirk allows her to copy their quirks as long as she has a bit of their blood. So she would have been able to at least team up with a couple of them, if not done so begrudgingly by some students. And she would have copied, if not taken, the Wing Guy's quirk after asking him, and helped them take down Gang Orca. And they would all get their provisional licenses, as one thing does happen. Todoroki does knock on a door, and Endeavor opens it, begrudgingly asking if he can borrow some of Endeavor's time, as Todoroki has been talking with Rei. She is happy to see him, if not she burst into tears the first time she did. But Endeavor, that was a bit of a sore subject, because he's been trying to work with her in the background while all this has been going on. Todoroki, he would just finally ask if they can sit down and have dinner as a family. If not, try and have a bit of normality. As Ray would have been a bit begrudgingly until Endeavor is being kind, thoughtful, and sorry. Apologizing for what he did, and Todoroki being able to at least convince her that this is true. With his older sister walking in and hugging her mother, explaining that it is all true. Endeavor has changed and he's actually opened up the agency. Along with that, he doesn't try and force Todoroki to use his quirk. In fact, Todoroki doesn't live here. He actually lives in the UA dorms, if not a specialized building. But they got moved into dorms recently, so they still do need to take things over there. As they would sit down and restore a bit of normality to chaos. Now then, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video, and while they are doing that, Deku and Momo are going out on a proper date, while Bakugo and Uraka are still somewhat trying to figure things out with each other. Yes, they are dating, but they usually do just hang out and train and fight. So, they would actually just try accompanying Deku and Momo on a double date to, like, a movie theater or something I can see them being interested in. So, that is where the series is left off, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video. And, yeah. I'm gonna... hang on, I actually do need to put some ideas in the cup, actually. Alrighty, everyone, I'm back after a few minutes, so let's begin. Let's see. Oh, wow. Well, I know someone's gonna like this what if. Sadly, I might have to cut it short, though. For those of you wondering, this is going to be my first gender bent what if. So, that's going to be an occasion. Now, if you guys are actually wondering what's on the paper, it says Raven's powers. I'm not going to be that guy. However, I'm a bit surprised. I forgot this one was actually in here. Actually, I think I wrote this one down twice. I'll have to check that later.